We should probably talk about the channel, because I think the last video that went up on the channel was. Am I right in thinking that it was the future of the channel? And tell us what you think, which so far nobody has. Although we do seem to have one fan whose name I will not be able to remember at the moment, but he's been leaving.
Yeah, he's been great.
He's been leaving nice comments. So thank you, whoever you are. I'll try and remember your name. But I was looking at the statistics, the analytics. We seem to be maintaining. We've gained a few more subscribers.
The Beatles video gave us another 10 subscribers or more. I think, right?
Yeah, it did. So I think that's a marker. When we talk about something that's topical in music, it probably brings in a few people, because I think I was looking. Almost all of the views came from YouTube recommending the video to people who were obviously looking for that topic. So that's the way to game the system, I suppose. I hate gaming the system, but. It seems as though there's a couple of things about the listening stuff that we do. You were saying before that you're slightly uncomfortable about listening in public, and I feel that as well at times. And the other part of that is that even though we've got permission from like Ipecac and various other people to play their music, when push comes to shove, if the channel ever did get to the point where we were making money from it, or that it was doing really well, it would be those guys. It would be those guys that would be getting the money, because they let us play it. They let us play and listen, but they take the revenue because we're using their material. So from that point of view, that's another impetus to not listen and just to talk about listening, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do. And that's actually like Steve Wilson does his podcast a similar way too, where they don't play the music they're discussing, but they make a Spotify playlist of all the highlights of what they discussed, right? But I don't know if that's like you and I both know that people aren't going to do that. Like our listeners aren't going to like queue up the songs and listen along with us. So
no.
I agree with you. I think abandoning the listening thing, or if even if we did get popular, those videos aren't the ones people are watching anyway, right? So
that's right.
I'm okay with like abandoning that or not. I still think it's a great concept, and I'd love if somehow it came back around at some point, because, like deep listening is awesome. And again, I keep mentioning Steve Wilson, but like for his newest album, I don't know if they're still doing it or not, but he had these rounds of listening parties in England where you signed up to a list, and if you got invited, I think it was like $40. If you got invited, you paid $40 to get in, and they provided drinks and food, and you got your own recliner. You sat down in this recliner in this giant Atmos room that had like 40 speakers in it.
Really?
And they turn all the lights off, complete darkness.
Oh my God, that's my dream. That's my dream.
Yeah, I know.
There's
right?
something.
So it's like,
wow, that just opens up a whole. I didn't know he was doing that. I would probably have paid for that. A sort of part of me that we haven't talked about is my writing. I do quite a lot of writing. Well, I have written a lot, and I've got a universe that I write in. It's the universe of the Shatter. And it's a science fiction idea, which I won't say too much about because I don't want someone else to steal it. But in this universe, there are alternative universes, and I wrote about myself in an alternative universe, as if I was succeeding as a musician in terms of, in inverted commas, succeeding, like I was well known. But in this universe, people listen to music the same way that we go to the cinema to see films. And you don't listen to music at home, or you do, but you don't listen to it in the same way. You go somewhere, and there are all these listening clubs all over the world that listen to music. So when I was writing about myself in this other reality, I created a whole bunch of fake reviews from these listening rooms that were because every listening room has a listening session, and then they publish a report on what they found, what they discovered when they were listening, because the people in the room will say, oh, that bit where the saxophone came in, or that bit where this happened, that bit, and they take it really seriously, because they're a much more evolved version of us. So Stephen Wilson has read my mind on that one. I'd love that. That would be amazing. But the only problem is the seats in the centre of the room would have to be more expensive, because that would be the listening position. You know what I mean? That was the one thing I couldn't get around when I was writing about this. I couldn't get around, but there's only one good listening position in every room.
Well, with the Atmos, and I think the fact that they have expanded speaker setups in this room, they may have there might be pockets, good pockets, depending on.
Yeah.
I don't think because this room had more than an Atmos system, so it was like Atmos Plus, right? So I remember them talking like there was like 40 speakers in the room, but Atmos is like supposed to be 12 speakers, right? So I imagine there was probably like a wider center channel, or maybe like different center channels that were being repeated in different parts of the room. So like you might have the best seat in that section. You know, I'm not sure.
Right, yes, and of course your psychoacoustic mechanism will kick in, and you won't hear the lopsidedness of it if there is any lopsided. After a few minutes, it will just be part of the listening experience. Yeah, I would have loved to. I must keep my eyes open for that and see if I can get to one of those.
I feel bad I never mentioned it. It's probably because when it's happening, like, you know, because this started happening maybe 9 months ago, because it was before the album was released. You weren't a fan of Steve Wilson, so I probably never just thought to mention it, right?
That's it.
You know.
Yes, I'm a convert.